Bye.
Hi everyone, I have Lucy with me. This is her first podcast. I always forget what episode we're on, so I'm not even going to try and tell you what it is, what number it is. But Lucy, you're going to say who you are, what you do for Trio, and then I will get into the topic for today.
So, hi, I am Lucy and I am a client relationship manager at Trio. Looking after the sales for new and existing business.
True.
Yeah.
So we've not had anyone in the sales team come on yet. It's all kind of been the account management and the creative side. So I think an exciting part of being digital marketing is obviously getting the clients, whether that's inbound or outbound. It's just important to kind of see what that process is and how you guys, I think sometimes people can have a misconception of sales where they think, oh, well, all they do is sell, but they don't actually know. Whereas you and Beth, like we always speak about, especially in our vlogs and stuff, like how much you guys actually know, and to an extent sometimes do and use like SEMrush and software. So yeah, I think this is going to be a nice kind of change from what we've done before, where we actually like look at the sales side of things for digital marketing.
Yeah, and I think for us it's more of a consultative approach. So we're very lucky in the sense that our marketing works very well. So we only work on inbound leads. So there's always there's a need there already from the clients that are contacting us, rather than us kind of going as a hard sell outbound cold calling to businesses. So yeah, in terms of like the inbound sales, inbound inquiries, we will kind of follow those up, but work out what's best for that client's needs, what the needs are, and then how we can find a solution to
and also
solve
like
the problem. Or
when we do have a client that's not just, as you've said it's not just new, it's existing. So if I have a client, for example, if that person wants to have more services or whatever, because not everyone comes to us for everything at once, it's really helpful that how we get you guys involved, because it's not like, oh, right, you get this inbound lead, you guys deal with it, you guys make the sale, and then you guys leave. You guys are part of that relationship, and you're like kind of the go-to point when maybe you want to they want to upgrade like a package or anything. You guys are there because you've created this really strong like relationship at the start. So yeah, it's not just like solid sales that you and Beth are doing.
Yeah, it's not a case of we are relationship managers.
Exactly.
And it's very much about kind of creating a relationship that then is going to last, and then that's going to follow through with the team as well. And
100%.
Like everybody in the team works quite well in terms of partnerships for both the sales side and the people who are managing the account. So although we kind of, once we've won a new account, we pass it over to you guys to actually start doing the work,
You're still involved.
there is still that involvement of the relationship element of it with clients.
100%. So now that we've kind of got an idea of what you guys do and that you're not just purely sales, we don't even really use that term at all. That's why your job titles aren't like sales or even business development, because you're so much more than that within the client side of things as far as building relationships. So what we're going to do today is our topic is all going to be about product-based businesses versus service-based, because that's kind of the two types of companies that are calling us or filling out contact forms. The first question you guys ask, if they haven't already said it in their intro, is what is it that you are selling? Is it a product or is it a service? And then you kind of go further. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's look at similarities and differences, and let's look at the different elements / services that we offer, and kind of how you guys approach that conversation with them and how you recommend different things. So we'll look at websites first, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people do come to us for. What kind of differences or similarities do we have when like a service or product-based company comes to us as far as recommendations for websites? You can clear your throat. I guess you feel you holding your coffin.
I was waiting for a moment, and I didn't want to do it mid that you'd then have to repeat
cut
something all again. So I thought, but yes. So in terms of obviously the clients that we've got, they're very different from people selling donuts to
waste removal,
which is service, or manufacturing companies. So there's a real kind of mix of both kind of e-commerce, like service-based against product-based, but then also product-based, which are B2B against B2C
Correct.
product-based businesses as well. So in terms of kind of our
Approach on websites.
Initial conversation, it's kind of, first of all, kind of finding out what they do before anything else, because what's the nature of the business, what do they do, and then where they're struggling at the moment. We've got new clients that will come to us who don't have a website, for example, so it is very much kind of starting up about like, okay, well, how do I go about creating an online platform for the business, and then once we've created that, then how are we going to market it against somebody who's an existing business, or they might be using a different agency, so they're already doing a number of different services and they've already got a website, against somebody who is a business that's been trading for a while but hasn't necessarily
touched the marketing
done any marketing, or hasn't, or has got a website that's 10 years old.
Yeah, and doesn't know why they're not on the top of Google, because it's 10 years, like it's been there for 10 years. And it's like, well, it's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very much just kind of like obviously finding what they do and where they're at the moment.
Yeah.
And then making the recommendations based on that. So if we start with
product based, should we start with kind of like the e-com side of things?
Yeah. So if we look at kind of project based businesses which are selling something, as opposed to selling a service essentially. So like I said, we've got,
I would say,
donuts like against bridal wear, against people selling jewelry, like shoes, those kind of things. So the food and then fashion is
two different things, but they're both selling. But like on the product based side, if they're just selling a product, what's your first thought as far as like, let's say they don't have a website, so let's use example one, they don't have a website and they want to sell a product online. How are you approaching that? So in terms of them wanting to sell a product online, obviously if they haven't already got a website, then we need to look at creating them a website. Because they're not going to get traffic to a website if they don't have one. What are you selling? Right. Just on the side of the street. Like there are some exceptions to the rule, like some people don't have websites because they use other platforms, or Amazon, so Amazon, 100%. eBay, Etsy, and some people are successful in that way. But it's just another string to the bow having your own website as well. So if we're looking at kind of websites for an e-commerce company, let's say, which is an e-commerce direct to consumer company, we'd look at kind of what are the most what's the best option for them in terms of a website build. How they want it to look, functionality. And then also like what platform, like what do they need? Are they uploading the products themselves? Are they do they have like the banking set up already? Are they wanting to have inventory as well? Like to have a fulfillment center. So we'd look at kind of the available options for that. In terms of starting the build. And then the marketing that goes. And we kind of, well. I'd say WooCommerce and Shopify are our two main go-tos. So in terms of, platform of what we would recommend for those. Shopify is so easy. It's such a great platform. User-friendly. Really easy to manage both for themselves and the users which are landing on it. Everything's integrated, like everything's built in. And you will pay a monthly fee with that, but you pay that for hosting anyway. The hosting's there, exactly. And it's kind of all set up for you. Whereas WordPress, their version of an e-commerce platform would be WooCommerce. So still great. And we do have clients that come to us and they've always worked with WordPress, so they would stick with us. They would want to stick on WooCommerce, but kind of depends on what they want. What they want. It's still easy to kind of upload products. There's a little bit more kind of
effort that goes into it,
Yeah,
I would say.
I would say it's a bit more, maybe a bit less user friendly, unless you are really comfortable on WordPress in general.
Yeah. And then you would have, with Shopify, you've got the apps that you add on for different features that you want, and you would have plugins on WordPress. However, you just have to be kind of cautious as to how many plugins that you're adding onto it, because that can potentially slow the site down. Also, we need to look at like product numbers as well, the amount of products that you're putting onto a site.
Yeah.
Some people like much prefer WooCommerce because the design elements can be a little bit more
you have a bit
kind
more
of tailored
freedom
on that. Yeah. So yeah, some people would prefer that over Shopify. But if you had no knowledge of either of the platforms, like
we probably
I would go for Shopify over.
I think like Shopify is a e-commerce platform. That's what it's built for. It's what they're good at. You go for it. The thing with WordPress is they do something else, which is you can build websites. They're a website platform.
It was originally set up as a blogging platform.
Exactly.
That then has just expanded, adapted over the years. So yes,
we would probably, either way, we would do what is right for the client and we would make our recommendation. But obviously, we have the capability to do both. A big part of Trio is listening to the client and seeing what is right for them rather than just doing what they think is right. So we've used the example for product based of someone who doesn't have one.
And also I feel like I said at the start of that, it's product based for B2C users, whereas B2B like it's always different. Also possible to kind of use a Shopify site and a WooCommerce site, but majority of B2B customers who are selling products direct to like trade customers essentially, in my experience they tend to go for WooCommerce over Shopify.
But it's not like Shopify don't have the capability. We have got trade
clients customers as well.
They've got a wholesale and a B2C, and they do them both in Shopify, and they're linked, and that's quite helpful. So yes, I guess the similar rules apply for that. So a client's come to you, they've got a website, but they don't really say anything about that. They just say, look, we're looking to move to another agency, or maybe they've been doing it in-house and they now want to have it more advanced, whatever the case is. But they come to us and they want all these services that we offer. But kind of what's your approach on that when they do that? And we're still sticking on the kind of e-com side of things.
Okay. So obviously if they haven't got a website, then obviously our recommendation is to build them one.
Yeah.
And then look at the options after that. So the options that we can go down from a digital marketing side of things are looking at social, looking at SEO, PPC. Like, have they got any PR? Like, is it a real kind of newsworthy
industry?
Is it a newsworthy piece of actually the launch of this product?
Yeah.
Yes, if we are building the website because they don't already have one, we've built the website, and we've prepared it for we'd always have a conversation at the start to say, actually, when we're building this site, are we going to be doing SEO for you? Like, what have you got a plan? Do we need to work on a strategy for you? What are your intentions kind of after it goes live? Some people just haven't thought that.
Think it's just going to be on Google, and we're like, no.
We're going to be ranking on page 1 and going to be getting sales through straight away without doing anything. So there's the elements of kind of, as I said, SEO, PPC and social.
And PR,
And PR.
That we would recommend, basically,
and yes, if they don't already have a website and we haven't set it up, they're not going to have been doing those already. So it's about kind of setting up the accounts for them, but also like what are their intentions? Like, how many amount of sales do they want to get? Like, what's their growth plan over the next year, over the next 2 years, over the next 5 years? Where do they want to get to? What are their competitors?
Where are people looking for their products? Is it social media, or is it that they just Google it?
Is it something that needs to be led by video? Is it something that you need to see, like, I don't know if we can use examples in here, but like crimp it. Like, we've been talking about toaster machines in the office.
Yeah, we have. Now we have one.
And then I had seen a video on social of like people raving about this crimpet machine. Like I've never ever heard of it
Until we spoke about it in the office.
this weekend. Like we'd started talking about toasting machines, never heard of it, and I have no idea how many why there's so many comments on it, but it's a £12.99 plastic thing.
What?
That you put 2 slices of bread in, you crimp it,
Yeah.
push it down, take it out, and then put it in the toaster or
So
the
it
grill or
looks
fry it in
like
the pan.
a
So it's like a toasty
This is
without doing a
genius.
toasty machine.
I'm going to get
But-
those now, so Siri's clearly listening.
But I had never seen that before. We'd started talking about it.
Yeah.
If I just saw crimpet, I would have no idea what it was. Like I had to watch a video to know.
Yeah.
To know,
Okay, so that's an
to
example.
know what it is. So
yeah.
my point is kind of like what kind of product is it?
Yeah.
Because actually, if it's something that can benefit from video, if it's a new project and nobody's heard of it,
Yeah.
Maybe looking at a cardigan, you could see
You
that
know
in
what
a
it
picture,
is,
like an
yeah.
image. People know what that is. If it's a new project, like it's new to the market, you need to raise
Needs
awareness
explanation.
around it, as well as drive demand. Like a video would really benefit that. So then we look at,
Ways of marketing it
ways
through
of
video.
So if we're looking at video marketing because it's a new project, like let's look at social channels for that.
Yeah, correct.
If we are, you could look at PPC advertising for someone that's looking for a toasting machine and
Yeah.
kind of target those people as an alternative. Whereas SEO, now I've seen it on social, I potentially could search a crimpet.
Search it, and you would want it to come up
And then
at the
it
top.
would come up because
Yeah.
I've seen it on social. I'm then going to find it on Google. So that would benefit it. But actually, if it's a new project and no one's ever heard of it, nobody's going to be searching for it by name. So that's how it all kind of links in together from
all
but
the service-based parts.
it is going to depend on people's budgets as well. And
That's true.
what have they got? What budget have they got to then be able to recommend the platforms that fit those needs?
And we'll prioritize those. I think the biggest thing is that in what we said right at the start, that you guys aren't just like hard sale, like this is what you should get and getting all the money. It's basically saying like, this is your necessity. You don't have a website, here it is. And then going to the server side and going, right, we've prepared your website, for this. We've built it with SEO in mind. We've created pages that can handle the traffic and the demand of like PPC and social media and all these things. But we are also then talking to them about those. We're not just going, well, you should do Google Ads. We're going, who's target audience? Like, where do you want to make sales? We're thinking about all those processes throughout that time that you guys are creating that relationship. You're not just trying to sell the biggest, best package. And, you're thinking about the client.
Everything interlinks as well. Like, if they've got if it's a new business, they're probably not going to have a great mailing list. But if over time they've got that, like that can link into
email marketing
as well. Like it's a new client, it's a new product.
Yeah.
So therefore, like over time, you're going to then develop it. So when the next new product comes along, you've then got some data to then be able to do that with.
True.
So it is about kind of looking at the whole picture. And like I said, like video can link to like social can then link to SEO, which can link to PPC. So there's all of these different elements, but actually if you come with a limited budget and you're just, I just need to raise brand awareness on this, then we're always going to just to see what's going to be the best option for
what you have.
Yeah. And whether that's a short-term strategy, so in the next 3 months to 6 months, we're going to focus on this and then introduce other elements of it once we've raised brand awareness, and then start bringing other services into it. It's always kind of good to look at it as
a whole picture, not just. And then so I guess for clients that have a website already and we are offering those services, our approach is quite similar in that we want to be able to recommend the best service possible, but we always go straight to the root and we go, right, that's great that you want all those services, but you have a website and we need to analyze it. We need to look at it. So we've not built it. You don't want a new one. We're going to analyze it and make sure it's ready for all of that. And we've got questions that we always ask our clients. Obviously they differ. I don't need examples, but we always say to them, like, what are your top products? Where's the traffic? So that you guys have an understanding of whether or not we can provide those services based off the state of their website currently.
Yeah. And it's about being realistic as well. Like we will always do a website audit before we start working with anyone because we need to see what the starting point is.
Exactly.
In order to then be able to to monitor and track the progress of the campaigns that we're running for them.
True.
And it is just about being honest, because we want people to get the best conversions. We want them to get the best return. And if we just go, your website's fine, like
we're just gonna do this.
It looks absolutely fine. Like we'll start running a PPC campaign on that, or we'll start doing SEO on it. Like you're not necessarily going to get the best
return on any of that.
On it.
Yeah.
So we will always kind of sit down, look at the website in detail, both Beth and myself, but also include some of the wider team as well, which look at it from an aesthetic point of view, a technical point of view. We'll use the software that we've got to see kind of any kind of
technical issues,
any technical errors.
Yeah. But also just like, because we're on product based, like we test the products, so we make sure, what's your buying journey like? Do you have a side cart? Do you have a place to put discount? Like there's so many things they don't think about. They just want the service, they just want more sales, and we're like, there could be a reason that you're not getting sales, and it's not because the marketing's not successful. It's because where your marketing is going is not working. Yeah. And that's your guys' approach, isn't it? To
and
kind of make sure.
Like there's some times where they'll have duplicated products, or you go onto a product and the image doesn't match the product, or the colour that you can buy a product in, the swatch colour doesn't match the colour that's been shown on the image. Yeah, the image website, that you're looking at.
FAQs,
when we go
descriptions.
When we go to the product page, when we've added the product and gone to the basket, like, is it easy to check out? Like, and we also look at, if you give us access to it, we can look at kind of, the drop-off rates on analytics as well, like where
they're dropping off.
Have you already got like the shopping what's it called?
I know what you mean.
In analytics, where the shopping process you can see, so 20% are dropping off on this page, 20% are dropping off on the homepage, product page, cart. And then we can look at, well, why are they dropping off at that point? Like, what changes can we make at that particular point that's going to keep people to stay on the page, and then in turn result in actually purchasing a product? Have you got payment options on there? Like, have you got Klarna, Apple Pay, Google Pay?
That's a huge one that I've noticed clients, and we're like, oh, you only offer credit card, debit card. I'm like, do you know how many people carry that around? No one. Everyone uses Apple Pay, so I don't carry my card around.
It's
if you don't have the option, I will go back. I'll just Google it and go get the next person. Like,
if you already got your card details like saved on your phone, it's so much easier just to click buy.
Exactly.
Than it is to do it. And then also like people now are spreading payments. So PayPal, when you split it into payments, Klarna.
Yeah, so all of those options. So basically it's, that is obviously different to when we are building a site, because we know it's ready. But yeah, it's just important that as far as the sales side is, you don't just hear someone going, oh, I need PPC and SEO, and you go, yeah, sure, we can offer that service. It's like, we need to make sure that the marketing we're doing is going to somewhere that it can handle it, and that's going to be successful, because it doesn't matter how much money you spend on that. If your site isn't ready for it, it's just not going to be beneficial.
And we will refuse to do it. And
we will.
If a website is bad, like, we will refuse to do it until the website is
ready.
And if some people, if they've already got a site that are coming, like they might have a developer that they use in house, so therefore we'd make the recommendations for them to go to their developer with.
Correct. Yeah.
If they don't, like, we'll do that internally for them. But to get the best out of a campaign, whether that's SEO, whether it's PPC, whether we're linking back from social to then get people to come back to the site. Yeah. Like, we're always gonna
think and consider the whole process. And then that kind of leads us on to the last example we gave, which is basically someone coming to us going, oh, we've got a website. This website is built before Shopify maybe was even a thing, before WooCommerce. Like, it's old. And they're like, oh, but I'm not getting sales. I used to get sales. Like, something's gone wrong. Kind of, that's obviously a sensitive one for you guys, because you don't want to just be like, well, your website's awful and old. As much as, in your head you're thinking like, oh gosh, this is so outdated. How do you guys handle that, where you've got this client, they think they've got a website that's successful? What do you guys do to handle that, so that you can make sure that they understand we're not just trying to take your money and get you a new website? You genuinely need to either upgrade it or get a new one in order to get the sales that maybe they used to, or obviously more, which is the goal.
And I think the majority of sites that you see that are older aren't going to fall necessarily into the e-com side. They're going to be more
Yeah.
kind of service-based product.
True.
Yeah, kind of service industry-based, where they've had a website because it was there to put the details on. And I'm thinking of like the old ones which have padding on either side, and it's just like a little A4 piece of paper in the middle. As one of the old ones. But it was there just to kind of have a number on.
Yeah.
And people would look at the website, look at what they did, and then ring them anyway. They wouldn't necessarily fill in a contact form or an inquiry form. It was nobody email.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was maybe just
did
an
it 10
email
years
address
ago,
or a number at the bottom being like contact, telling them to contact you, not giving them the option to contact you there.
Yeah. So there's
how you approaching that client that they've called you and they think they have a website and they think they're ready for this, and you're just going, you need a new website before we can do any of this.
But I mean, I have to kind of give it to them. Like, if they're at the stage where they're contacting us, they're probably like
semi-aware that
most
they need
people
it.
with the old understands that their
they
website is old.
Yeah.
And will kind of allude to that.
Yeah.
They do need a new website. There are on some occasions where people have come with old websites and go,
just upgrade it.
Yeah, just not even that. Like, I need some traffic to this website now.
And you're like,
I want to do a PPC campaign and I want traffic to go to it. Whereas the ones that are really quite old, like if they're wanting to do marketing from that, like it's not really going to work.
Another aspect that is different for service versus the product is when we're doing everything, we know that we're not trying to sell a product. We're looking at the CTA. So we have to consider that in our recommendations. If they want PPC or SEO or whatever it is we recommend, what's your goal of that marketing?
Yes. What do you want to achieve? Is it contact form inquiries?
Is it phone calls?
Yeah, is it quotes that you want to generate on your website?
Exactly.
So,
and then tracking that as well.
Yes.
Because we know you can track sales. Doesn't matter what e-commerce platform you use, you've made a sale. Whereas I think the big thing that people want to know with services is, okay, so we've, either built them a website or we've fixed their website and we've recommended these services. They now need proof that they're getting that return. And as best as possible, we want to be able to offer that is some form of tracking for the ROI.
Yeah. And then if we move on to social in terms of like the differences for
product versus
product and service, like we might look at the difference in platforms.
Yeah.
If we're looking at, we had a conversation earlier where they are very much kind of the content that they produce is for teachers, and it's for
quite a specific target audience.
Kind of professors and businesses that have got R&D budgets.
Yeah.
So for them, they were like, okay, this is what I want to achieve, and although this content is probably going to go into the mainstream in a year or so, it's their target audience was very specific. So they asked us what platform would we go on, knowing that. So it, like, LinkedIn would be the recommendation, and Twitter because that's where their audience is. Maybe in 5 years' time, it might then go to not even 5, maybe
a couple
next year or the year after.
Yeah.
Like, it might be more mainstream, and we'd look at Facebook and Instagram as TikTok probably.
Yeah.
So then there could be videos about the content or whatever's new at that point.
So we consider kind of different social media, not only platforms, but also approaches to those platforms when it comes to service and product. Because product is, you obviously want to be doing a shop, having shopping ads, doing all of that with a service. You've got to take a less salesy approach with the service, and maybe do things like what we do, where we recommend getting to know the company that's going to offer that service, which ultimately sells better sometimes than selling the service itself.
And being more informative rather than sales led. Whereas you're a consumer based product that you want to sell a lot of, then looking at kind of the videos as we discussed earlier, but also then we need to look at ads as well, and we talked about organic, but just ads,
doing paid as well,
doing paid ads for social, and
the
content of those ads is going to differ dependent on whether you're selling gym gear,
Yeah.
gym gear on TikTok because that's the target audience, or whether you're selling
like cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
100% different. So I think kind of to wrap it up, we've looked at the differences and similarities from different types of clients, looking at, people who are not really doing marketing, people who are doing marketing but aren't satisfied, and people who know that they really need to start doing marketing, but they know they need a website. And then, looking at it from a product and service base, there are similarities. We can do all those services for them. We can build a website. The website will often, unless you've got other platforms that you sell on, it will often be the core. And I think the biggest thing is just making sure that we understand the entire picture when it comes to both of them, to ensure that your goal is actually something that's attainable, and what's the best way to get there. And also maybe looking at different things that could be the problem. Although they might think they've discovered it, we're there to kind of recommend and give advice and share our knowledge and experience, rather than just get to the sales part.
And people always want it yesterday.
And we're like,
they always want
Rome wasn't built in a day.
To be running yesterday, but it's not just about jumping the gun and going, we'll have an ad running tomorrow for you, and we're gonna go with that.
You may make all this
short term. Yes, you'll get them running quickly, but longer term, it's better to actually
really think about it
and do it properly to get the best return.
Amazing. Well, I've loved having you on the podcast and having a different kind of perspective on what we do as digital marketing, and looking at kind of the starting point of everything we do is obviously from you guys. So it is exciting to be able to get that point of view, and that other people understand our approach on inbound inquiries, basically. So we hope you enjoyed this episode with Lucy.
Thanks.
If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. If you're listening on our podcasting platforms, give us a review. If you ever want to contact us, drop us a message on social, or fill out our contact form, or just give us a call. And Lucy or Beth will answer all the questions you have. So thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.